everyone. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Dunk's Movie Corner Pod. This is Duncan. If you don't know me, I'm a young fella who watches some movies and has some opinions. If you want to look backwards in time, you can check out previous episodes on Spotify. You can also check out the real podcast, if I may say so, The Movie Bros, which is myself and my brother picking a movie, watching the movie, discussing and bantering and kind of rambling about the movie. I find this is kind of a companion podcast to that. This is just a quick recap of what I watched either in movies or shows or what have you in a week, or again, roughly a week. I try to do it every roughly 7 days. It may not be exact, so bear with me there. Without much further ado, this is going to be kind of a light week. I had just too much stuff going on to kind of get into anything else. So with that, I started, quote unquote, my week with the 1992. I don't want to say it's a classic, but I feel like lots of people know of it. My Cousin Vinny. This stars Joe Pesci as kind of a streetwise, quick thinking, but maybe not always smart lawyer for his cousin, obviously my cousin Vinny, who is being held for murder. It's actually a lot of fun. It's I feel like a courtroom one that is not so cut and dry boring. There's something more to it. It's not like action packed or anything, but like I think it's at least enjoyable to watch. I put this on my watch list because for whatever reason, all the major like movie channels on cable TV at my work has bought the rights to this because they are constantly showing this. So I always catch little snippets of it, but I feel, you know what, I should probably just sit down and actually watch it. And it was a lot of fun. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And if you don't know what Letterboxd is, it's a movie review and rating and logging, like kind of like a social media, but I don't know, better if I may say so myself. It doesn't feel so toxic because everyone there is just a fan of movies for the most part. I feel like the standout performance on this, yes, Joe Pesci is great as he usually is, but Marissa Tomei, if you don't know, some people like I feel like didn't. I mean, especially of a younger generation, maybe only know her as Spider-Man's mom in the newer Marvel movies. Sure, whatever, but a her acting in this is great, and b she is a absolute like she is a babe in this. Wow. Granted, early 90s, I mean, haven't been born yet, but wow. I I wanna see what else she has done. I might do a deep dive just for her. Like, I could watch her all day. She's fantastic. From there, in 1992, I hopped a little bit forward in time to, 2021, a few years ago, mid-COVID, mind you, to The Last Duel. So this was Ridley Scott, so you may know Ridley Scott from, I mean, he's done a ton of stuff. He's got Gladiator, he did Aliens, I believe. I mean, he is a very well-known director. The stars of this is a fairly stacked cast. I mean, you've got Matt Damon, you've got Adam Driver, you've got Ben Affleck, you've got Jodie Comer. Is this good? I think it could have been great as like a limited series or a mini series, whatever you want to call it, where it's like 4 or 5 episodes or something like that. But this is like 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it feels like 2 hours. And like it is kind of a slog. I don't know what they could have done, but the pacing definitely needed some momentum to it. There were good bits sprinkled throughout it though, like some of the well, I'll talk about the ending in a couple minutes, but the throughout the main part of the story, it's interesting because it's all about different perspectives of what the truth is. And I don't know if this was on purpose, but this came out around the same time as the big Me Too movement, which I don't know if that was again on purpose or not, or if it was a good thing or not, because it's basically just a he said she said rape case from like the medieval times. So it was just kind of an odd thing to also build a 2.5 hour medieval, almost like an epic around, which apparently it's based on true events. I'm not super sure. But like I said, the last, I'd say 20 minutes or so, though, Jesus fucking Christ. Where it's the actual, more or less, it's the actual duel. Um, awesome. Ridley Scott does know how to direct, what's the right word? He knows how to direct combat. I mean, he did Gladiator, he did Napoleon. He does know how to make epics and just the brutality of it. But it never felt over, like it didn't felt gory. It felt real, like really grounded in realism. Uh, yeah, fantastic, really, really good. But there's no way of doing that the whole movie because the rest of the movie is not. It's not really. I mean, it's called The Last Duel. The Last Duel is literally the last thing in the movie. So the first 2 hours is just to build up, but it is very slow build up. Jesus. So yeah, again, I would say I like this. I gave it 3.5. Excuse me, 3.5 stars out of 5. Pretty good, but I could definitely see if they changed this in a format sense, if they put this on HBO Max or Amazon Prime or something as a limited series. I think narrative wise and at least attention span and everything else, I think it could have. I don't know if it had the same like release impact if it was on streaming. I don't know if as many people would have seen it, but I think it would have made better sense narratively. Because even like they cut the movie in the movie, they split to like title cards throughout the movie of like, oh, this is from so and so's perspective. So they are clearly could have split that very easily up. Anyway, just my thoughts. Obviously, you could watch this and make your own decisions, but yeah, I feel like this was pretty good, but maybe not great. On the other side of that, I jumped back 20 years or so to 2002. Hayden and I, for context, are watching 3 movies for Halloween. One that he likes, one that I like, and then one that neither of I or him have seen. We're gonna watch and review them. We'll do a special Halloween episode, like a bonus episode beyond our normally scheduled weekly releases. So you can obviously look out for that on the Movie Bros. But last week he chose Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which is pretty creepy, pretty cool. Amazing practical effects. This week, aka, was that yesterday? The day before? I don't know. I chose my choice, which was Scooby-Doo. Yes, the live action Scooby-Doo is my horror or Halloweeny spooky choice. Granted, I'd say listen to the episode when we talk about it, because, I mean, both of us had quite a bit to say about this, both from our own personal experience seeing this back when we were like 10 or 6 or whatever it was, but also just the actual movie itself. What I will say is the casting, especially for the time, I think the casting is spot. I mean, for everyone, and I think everyone maybe agrees with this, but Linda Cardellini is. I mean, she's so gorgeous. She's oh my god. Both me and Hayden were like, Jesus Christ, how did not every like pre-teen, middle school, or even like younger boy when this came out in 2002 just automatically crush on her? Fred, which is Freddie Prinze Jr. I love that he is just cast as his name. Is great. Daphne's great. There's a whole subsection of the internet. I'll have to bring it up when we actually do the conversation with Hayden about how Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. I'll have to find it and post it on our stories, but it's like this whole subsection about him as Shaggy, which they're fantastic. I'll have to find them. There are parts where I think Scooby looks pretty good for the time as a CGI character. However, all the bad guy CGI monsters on Spooky Island, who is it's run by, spoiler alert again, it's from over 20 years ago, Scrappy Doo, who is running an animatronic body of Mr. Bean. The amount of weird, like, layers to this, crazy. Either way, the bad guys in this that are like CGI monsters look pretty rough comparatively to Scooby. Don't know why. Also, the amount of like gelled, spiked mohawks and crazy hair, because again, it's 2002, and Sugar Ray, are like the band Sugar Ray, are just characters in the movie, actively in the movie. If you look at it, it's just like they don't really make movies like this anymore. And this movie, we looked up the budget and how much money it made. This movie did fantastic, and they just don't make these anymore. That being said, if I look at it like trying to be as objective as possible, I gave this 2.5 out of 5 because again, it's I wouldn't I wouldn't call it an amazing movie. It didn't make me think or feel things. Is it a certain amount of escapism? Absolutely. Maybe I gave it a 3, but I it's nowhere near like a great movie in my humble opinion. Yeah, it's just it's a fun time. You could literally I think you could pretty much put this on at any point and people will want to watch it. It's such a like comfort easy watch. There are parts where I look back I'm like, "Oh, as a kid, I'm sure that probably scared the crap out of me." But now I'm like, "Oh no, this is just fun, kooky antics." We'll talk about this in the episode with Hayden especially, but the amount of physical sets they built for this is insane. Like, yes, they're fantastical and over the top and kooky and spooky, but like they built so much stuff for this. Well, I'd be curious to somehow look into that kind of background if there's special features I can find for it, but yeah, I would definitely want to look into that. Either way, I digress. From there, I went back in time, way, way back, to 1969 to watch Easy Rider. I th- I think my dad referenced this at some point. I can't honestly really remember why I put this on my watch list. This is just about two dudes in yeah, like late 60s, early 70s, riding their motorcycles after making a drug deal in LA. Then they're driving to Louisiana to go to Mardi Gras. And this is them. They're like it's just like an odyssey. It's just them experiencing like Americana life as they traverse like the country. Some of the writing scenes and the music, like some of the combo of that, really hits. But this is just, it's just totally from a different era. If you put this on, most people I think would either get bored, would just, there's not a whole lot that actually happens in this. And then the ending is just, okay, I don't want to say spoilers because again, this came out in 1999. However, spoiler alert, the two dudes on their motorcycles, they get to Louisiana, they're like, "All right, we made it. Now what?" And they just keep on riding. And then these two random hicks in a truck drive next to them and shoot, like literally just like shoot them both with a shotgun. That's it. That's the end of the movie. It just seems like an interesting choice to like the final thing. And then right before that, there is a legitimately like almost 15, maybe 20 minutes. They all like it's him and his buddy. They're in New Orleans and they hire two prostitutes and they all take acid together and it's them just like having a really bad acid trip. That's the whole 50, like it's literally like 50. I skipped through some of it because I was like, I gotta this is we gotta finish this at some point, right? So all of that being said, I could see again when this came out in 19, sure, maybe this was something. So I gave it 3, 3 out of 5. Was this anything to me? Absolutely not. Are there good parts? And did I Shazam some of the songs in this? Because I was like, okay, some of the music actually kind of hits for me. Sure, but I don't think I'll be rewatching this probably ever. I don't really see a point. So from there, I jumped forward to 2022. I watched Jerry and Marge Go Large. Now, if you don't know what this is, most people didn't. I don't even remember this coming out at all. I don't even know if this got a theatrical release. This might have just gone either straight to streaming or straight to video. I can find this. I don't even again, I don't even remember why I found this, but I did. Uh it is a semi-true story. Um it stars Bryan Cranston, Annette Bening, Rainn Wilson is always fun in it, Larry Wilmore, you'd recognize him. There's just several people in this you'd probably see. It's very like wholesome small town, like doing the right thing, like supporting. It's very much like I think I said this in my letterbox review, but I said I think my parents would love to watch this. Like seems very much like kind of a not old generation, but older, like wholesome vibe. Yeah, it just seemed like just a fine watch. Nothing inherently amazing, nothing inherently wrong with it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 again, kind of somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it because it was so for lack of a better word, it was so generic. But I'm glad that like sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. Like again, there are people like, I don't want every movie to be this like Iron Claw or Saving Private Ryan or something like that, where it's just like this is emotionally a lot for me. You can just put something like this on, and again, it's not total escapism like Scooby-Doo, but it is like this wholesome thing I can just maybe put on with my mom, who's very much like you could put her next to the main gal in this, and I feel like they'd probably be very good friends, that kind of thing. Either way, that's what I watched this week, folks. Again, there wasn't that much. Again, I've been busy, and I'm trying to get back to close to posting this at the start of the week, not running behind and posting like kind of recording on Wednesday or Thursday. So that's why it's Tuesday, and hopefully I'm going to work back to starting on Monday. Either way, that's what I watched. Watch these things if you like or don't. It's up to you. Form your own opinion. Reach out if you have anything you think I should be watching beyond all the other streaming outlets. There, I also have like a stack of 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 7 or 8 movies on my desk. I need to work through. I'm trying to actually make a dent in my letterboxd watch list because I feel like some of that stuff has been sitting on there forever. Like City of God, The Right Stuff. I've never seen Roman Holiday. The Fugitive I wanted to rewatch with Harrison Ford. That newer Hunger Games movie where it's like a prequel. Challengers, that Zendaya tennis movie sounded kind of interesting. Either way, there's lots to watch. There's lots to review and talk about. So you may have to tune back in next week to find out what I thought of these things. And if you like this podcast, there are ratings, there are reviews, there's sharing options, there's checking this out on Instagram at Dunks Movie Corner Pod. Again, if you like this and you want something else along the kind of the same wavelength, because I'm part of the other one, you can check out the Movie Bros. That's again with my brother Hayden. Otherwise, that's more or less kind of all that I had. You can leave a comment for anything that you thought of along the way. But I'll see you all next week.